All right, so this is exciting because this effect is insane. I didn't see it anywhere, and the first time I saw it, so this is the credit time, I saw it in this great post, which is walked through the entire process, how to create this effect. And this code pen is demonstrate the effect. So I took it and changed it a bit, but the core is based on this example. All right. So in the previous tutorial, we saw how to create this cool effect, but this is the next level. And in terms of layout, I think it's identical. So of course, I will show you how we did it step by step. But first of all, let's see what's happened here. So as I'm hovering a specific item in the gallery, in the repeater, it's grow and it's above everything, and it's the next and previous items also getting a bit bigger but less, and the second next item and the previous item is also scaling. And also you can see there is like a very subtle shadow, so you get like this 3D effects, and this is super smooth, and it's working great. I checked it on Safari also, it's working great there. So let's see what's going on under the hood. So this is our example. It's almost identical to the previous one, as you can see, but I'll show you how to build it. The core of the effect is CSS, so we will take a look later. So basically what I have here, so let's quickly create exactly the same layout as much as we can. So I have a section, and inside this section I will have a repeater, and this repeater is set to, let's see the original example, it's set to slider. So let's change it to slider, and I will set it to be 100% of my section, like this. Now each item right now has its own width and minimum height from the row, 300 pixels. But just like the previous one, I'm wrapping everything inside a container, the item content. So let's add a container. Let's remove the background color from the item. So now you can see that this is the content container. All right, so inside this container we can put everything we like. So for this example, we will add an image. So it looks like this. Now the image should be 100% of the width and 100% of the height. Yes, I could stretch, but intentionally I didn't do it. So the content container naming is important, or content wrapper is what size it should be. So first of all, I will center it in the middle of the item. So you can see right here that the content, right now I'm selecting one item inside, one image inside the repeater item. It's bigger than each item. So in this example, I put a specific width for each item, which is a responsive unit 7 VW. So let's do it. I'm selecting the item. Let's give it a bit back color. All right. So let's set to 7 VW. Of course, you can put your you can put any value you want, but I practice it a little bit, and this value is responsive and it looks good in most of screen side. and also this is allow you to get like this beautiful effect when you have a lot of items. So each item is each item right now have its own width, and we need to set some minimum height, because I'm going to set the content container, the content wrapper, to be bigger than its own parent, but the height will always match the height of the repeater item. So the height always will be 100%, and the image also should be 100%, just like this. But the width of this item, and this is important, should be as the width that we want the item to expand when we are hovering. So here you can see each item is 7 VW, but as I'm hovering it, it's getting a bit bigger. It's scaling, of course, but it's also getting wider a bit. So let's see in the CSS what size I gave in when we are hovering. So you can see right here, when we are hovering, the width is changing to 10 VW. So I'll select the container and set it to be 10 VW, just like this. Now the image should be placed in the middle of this container, and for some reason the width changed. So you can see right here that this is actually in the middle of the item. This is important, the next thing that I'm about to say. Right now we are setting the column unit and the row. So the row, if I'll set it to be FR, just a second, the container, I need to make sure that it doesn't have minimum height. So you saw that when I'm setting the item width, the item height to be 1FR, basically it's based on the content. But because the content is also relative, the height is relative to the item, it's collapsed. So I will undo it for a second, and I will give the item minimum height. For this example, I will set it with pixels, but I think it's better to do it with responsive units. So here I set 500 pixels, but you can convert the, let's do 500 pixels, but you can convert it to VW, and then it will scale up and down based on your screen size. All right, so 500 pixels. Now the content container, again, everything should be 100%. Okay, it looks like this. Now this is kind of weird because the items are overlapping each other. So we need to set the item, the repeater item, overflow hidden. So basically everything that is outside of this container will be hidden. So now we have a clean look, how each item looks like. I think I forgot to remove this one, which I need. This is the content wrapper. The height should be 1FR. All right, actually we don't need this also. So this, right now we have 3 items. We can easily duplicate them. Let's do a lot of them. So the reason that we are set the repeater as a slider, because when we have a lot of items, we want to be able to scroll, right? So this is the reason. So we have a lot of items right now. So what is the next step? The next step is that we are going to animate the item using CSS. And for that, we need to give unique a class to each item. So the class I choose is card, as you can see right here. So each item will get the card class. Okay, Um, so right now, you can see right here that there is a filter of grayscale. This should be this should be black and white with no color, and it's not applying right now. So the reason is that this class is nested inside another class. So we need to set the gallery 3D. This is the class I gave to the parent container. So we need to set it to the repeater. And now you can see that it affects the repeater items. But I want to set it to the section. Okay, so let's do it like this. So each item that I will put inside will inherit these classes. You can add it to the repeater, of course. So the first thing that we can notice that all the items are grayscale, and also the brightness of each of the item. I'm talking about the item and not the image, because basically every element that you put inside this container, the item container, will get this effect, and I will demonstrate. So if I'll take a shape and I'll give it a different color, this blue, so you can see when I'm adding it to the repeater item, it's getting black. And so actually it's not black because it's only the parent one, the parent element, the item has this filter. So if I'll change it to 0, now everything will get the original colors. Yeah, so let's get rid of this shape. We don't really need it. And let's just quickly preview this and to see if something is happening. So this looks like it's working, right? When we are hovering, the hovered item is getting is with color. It looks like it's scaling. We see some shadow, and the items next to it are getting smaller, and like accordion. So it looks like it's working, but the issue is that it looks like it's cut from top and bottom. So to fix that, basically because we are dealing with a slider, so everything that is outside the slider is scrollable. So what we need to do, we need to select the repeater and add some padding. In my example, I add 100 pixels padding. This is a fixed unit. Of course, you can set it to be more responsive, but for this example, I will use fixed values. So now if we will publish it, so the repeater is actually starting from here and end here. So this area is still inside the slider area. So you can see now this is enough for me to see the effect very good. Now if I'll shrink the gaps here, this will be even this will looks even more beautiful, and you can see that I still able to scroll inside this container. Now this is important to mention that I've tried this effect on mobile. It's working, but it looks ugly. So this is why in mobile I was changing the effect. You can see on the live example, I changed the effect to act exactly like the previous tutorial, like this one. So you can see that in mobile, if you tap this item, it will grow but not scale up. And I think this is a great solution, because believe me, in mobile you don't have enough space and everything will look so clunky. All right, so let's see what's happening. So all right, so we build the layout. Before we will dive into, you know what, let's go to the CSS. All right, so the CSS looks like this. So this is the default values for each card. Remember, card is an item, a repeater item. So when we are hovering, can I make it bigger? Yeah. So when we are hovering an item, or we have focus within. Now this is important. This is basically for accessibility. Now let's see an example because it's important. So imagine that we have a button for each item. Okay, imagine that you want to have a city A that you can click to go to the dynamic page, or go, I don't know, whatever you like. So we need to be able, with tab navigation, to apply the effect, right? So in that case, let's see the example on the live side. So here we have buttons. Okay, so if I'm hovering, everything works perfectly. But if I'm clicking tabs, if I'm tab navigating, right now I'm using tab. So sorry, you can see that as I click tab and move between items, the effect is still applying. All right, so this is why I use the focus within. All right, so the item that we are hovering is scaling by 30%, and the filter is that the grayscale is disappear, and the brightness become as the original brightness like we want. Now the width is changing to 10 VW. Remember that we are set the item width. I can go back here because it's right now it's exactly the same. So we set the container width is to be bigger based on that value, so 10 VW. So if I'll put 20, I need to change in the code here 20 VW. All right, and this is the box shadow, and that it will give us this 3D effect. And we change the Z index, which is make this item to be above everything, because in practice these items should be above this one because it's after in the DOM. And you see this comment. So this selector is represent the next card. Believe me, I didn't know it. I didn't know how to do it by myself. I just use the article. So it's scaling, but 20%, not 30%, 20%. And it still keeps the grayscale. It's still grayscale, but the scale, but the brightness, it's a bit less. So this is give us the effect that it's a bit brighter, but not completely. And the translate X, it means that it moves on the x-axis 20%, so it's move a little bit. And the main 3D effect, it's the perspective. The perspective gave us this depth that we have for each item, and then it's create like a conus, I don't know how to say it. And then when we have perspective and rotate on the y-axis, this is give these items like this, I don't know how to say it. It's not rotating like this, it's rotating like this. This is the perspective basically. So it's rotate 10 degrees, and the next card after the next card is rotating even more. So this create this kind of triangle view. So if you play around with these values, you will get a different behavior, different look. All right. And of course, the Z index, we are updating the Z index. So this is the next cards, and this is the previous card. So exactly the same as we did here, but the opposite values for the transform. So you can see that if the next card is scaling but 1.2, the previous one is scaling exactly the same, but the transform is the opposite value. So if the next one was 20%, so this one, so the previous one will be minus 20%, and so on, also for the degrees. So basically, that's it. Another important things to mention that I am applying this effect only for desktop, which is 1001 pixels and up. Basically because I told you that this effect is not looking good on mobile. Here you have also the template ready, the tablet ready. I don't have any code here because I don't want to waste time on tablet. And in mobile, you can see that we have a different behavior. So we don't have the transform anymore, because I don't want to get this effect, this 3D effect, but instead I'm just changing the width for 70 VW. And now this is important. If I change the width on mobile for 70 VW, so we need to update our design. Of course, right now it will work, but see what happened. So each item is still only 7 VW, and when we are hovering, it's 10 VW. It's 10 VW, but then you can see it's grow to 70, but our design it's not in the right size. So the first thing that we need to do is to take the container and change it to be 70 VW, and we need to make sure that the image is still 100%. Now, if I'll preview it, now you can see that it's growing like very nice. And I think the best thing to do is to change the width for each item to be bigger, maybe 30 VW, and then it looks much better. And if we will preview it like this, so you can see that this is more user friendly, and you can actually read the content. All right, so this was the mobile. Actually, I don't think we need the transform, because we don't have transform, but I'll keep it like this for now. All right, so let's think if I am missing something. By the way, someone asked me about this effect. He wants to get the effect that change color. So basically, you can copy this value and add it to the default one, and add it right here. And when you are hovering, you can set it exactly like this, the scale to be 0. All right, so I think that's it. I hope that I didn't miss something. If I miss something, I will edit in the comments. And of course, I'll share with you a free template. So play with it. Let me know what do you think about it. And until next time, keep building amazing websites on Wix Studio.